Hello, and welcome to another edition of Chamber Chat Live, brought to you by the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce, dedicated to building communities, creating connections, and supporting commerce. Special thanks to our sponsor, Tim Hillard and Ben Exchange, as well as our host, Bill Vitiello, representing the Victory Bank. And now, on to our program.
Hi, everybody, and welcome into this episode of Chamber Chat Live. My name is Bill Vitiello. I am the Institutional and Business Development Manager with the Victory Bank. You're in Chamber Chat Live from the Tri-County Area Chamber of Commerce, being syndicated to so many other pages around, too many to list. I won't name them at the moment. But thank you again for joining. Greatly appreciate it. There's a few people we need to thank here before we begin. We'd like to thank Drew Griffin from Delicious Marketing. He is doing all the behind the scenes and getting us hooked up and being able to stream live here on Facebook. So thank you, Drew. Greatly appreciated. We'd like to thank Danielle and Eileen from the Tri-County Area Chamber of Commerce, keeping all of our guests scheduled and all the back office stuff in line. So greatly appreciated. Thank you as well. We'd like to thank Tim Hillard from Simply PEO. Simply PEO handles payroll, workers' compensation, and human resources support to businesses. They are the employer's champ. So thank you to Simply PEO. And finally, thank you to the students at the Montgomery County Community College Communication Studies program who did that wonderful intro. So my guest today is the Director of Corporate Sales and Sponsorships from the Santander Arena, Tammy Dahms. Welcome to Chamber Chat Live. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. I feel like it's been forever and a day since we've seen each other. And I was just telling my wife, because we were at the last chamber event, and she goes, "Do you believe?" She's like, "It's almost been a year since then." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's crazy." Yeah. So how you doing? How was everything?
Good. You know, we're doing what we can in light of the situation. We're kind of with everyone else, kind of in this holding pattern to see what's coming down the pike. And our industry was the first to shut down. We'll be the last to reopen, but we're just trying to keep a positive attitude and look ahead with as much optimism as we can.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I know it's affected everybody. I mean, I want nothing more than to go out and see a live sports event right now. And I think others are probably looking forward to doing the same, but they can't at the moment. So, until we have that opportunity, we can only relive the past and hopefully look forward to the future.
Exactly.
So knowing what I know about you and the Santander Arena and the Reading Royals, can you give us a little bit about your background first, please?
Sure. Absolutely. So believe it or not, I've been with the arena for 8 years now. I started in 2012 part-time in the box office and slowly worked my way into sales. I kind of joke that the former director of sales kept nudging me closer and closer into the sales department. And I kept saying, no, I'm not, I don't know if I have an interest in that. And and then I started doing sales for the arena side. My background is in theater. So, doing stuff for the Performing Arts Center was really in my wheelhouse. And then, fast forward, that same director of sales kept nudging me again and said, "You should come over to the Royal side. You should do some stuff in sports." And I said, "No, I don't really do sports. It's not my thing. I don't really know it." And the more I really got involved, the more I realized that what we put on the ice and in the stands during a hockey game is just one big production. So there's so much similarity from my background in performing arts to what we do. And we do just, a minor league hockey game is one big production. And I didn't realize it standing on the outside looking in. So this past March was my first parlay into the Royals family officially. So I got promoted on March 9th and we canceled our season on March 12th. So it's been an interesting few months, kind of, like I said, I've been with the company for a long time. So I know all the partners that we have, I know the basics, but it was really an interesting time to jump in head first.
Well, congratulations on your promotion, and we will talk about the Reading Royals games in just a moment here. But for those who are not familiar, where is the Santander Arena, please?
Sure. So we are located downtown in Reading at 700 Penn Street, right across from the DoubleTree. hotel, and a couple great new buildings coming in. The Reading Science Center just opened up across the street as well. So right in downtown Reading.
Okay, and talk to us about the parking, because I was pleasantly surprised, I guess you'd say, about the parking. Tell us about some of the options there.
Yeah, absolutely. So parking is run by the city. So the Reading Parking Authority handles all of our parking. And there are about, I believe it's 6 garages within a 4-block walking distance from the arena. And I think the biggest asset to that is you come to a concert or an event here, and the price that you're paying for parking is significantly lower than what you're going to pay to go to Philadelphia or New York or Baltimore to see a show. So I think that's one of our biggest advantages with our parking situation here.
Yeah, totally agree. It was funny because we were coming to that event where we had the suite up top or whatever that area was. I apologize if I'm not naming that correctly, but
that's okay.
I said to my wife, I'm like, we got to go to Reading. I'm like, I have no idea where to park. Like, this is going to be, drama central. And sure enough, it signs for parking. And
yep.
I think we parked in the parking garage. I'm pretty sure we did anyway.
Yeah.
And it was so simple. We were less than a block away at that point. So
exactly. Yeah. There's at least 3 lots or garages within our footprint, within a block away. And then there's some that get a little farther out, which really work well if you're going to grab dinner at the peanut bar before you come in, or if you're going to, hit up Judy's on Cherry, you can eat dinner, park there, and come, head down the block 2 or 3 blocks to the arena.
Nice. Well, tell us a little bit about the hockey games. Again, I know we might not be, viewing hockey at the Santander Arena for a few months now. I mean, who knows what's going on with the NHL season? I heard maybe like December-ish time frame they're coming back. Is that?
Yeah, that's the latest information that we have. And the ECHL will kind of align with the NHL as best we can. There's no reason for us to start too much before them. So the most current information we have is that the goal is to start in December.
The goal. I get it.
The goal.
I like that.
See what I did there?
I did. Yeah, pretty
good. So we're aiming for a December start. Obviously, we've got teams all over the country and in Canada. So we're kind of collecting information to see in what states and what cities are able to operate with fans and which ones are not. So there's a lot of, conversations going on with the ECHL and the Board of Governors to figure out who can play, when we can start playing, and so forth. So we have intentions of starting in December, and until somebody tells me otherwise, we are full steam ahead.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind, could you provide us with a little bit of, behind the scenes on what it takes to produce a hockey game? Because I can tell you, when I went, there was never a dull moment there. So even in between puck drops, there was music playing or some sort of contest going. And then even in between periods, there was a lot happening. But give us an overview of what it takes to produce something like that.
Absolutely. So we, obviously not discounting what's happening on the ice. There's a hockey game, and that's what we're here for. But everything else that goes into that, we have a staff. Our full-time staff is about 20 people. Everything from a full ticketing staff to creative services who are doing all of those in-game graphics that you see, anything that's happening on the video boards, the replays, stuff like that. A full marketing team, as well as sales and sponsorship. So, we typically will have in a regular season, if COVID not being a thing, we would have a schedule typically in March for the following season that would begin in October. And from the day we get that schedule, we are busy planning what our theme nights are, what community outreach we're doing at those games, who we're reaching out to. So, for example, I think when I saw you last, you came out, we had a Tri-County Chamber networking event. It was a networking at night that we hosted you guys here. So, we make a list of all of those organizations that we want to bring in, and what that looks like and what that partnership is. So for you guys, it was networking. For Breast Cancer Support Services of Berks County, we do Pink in the Rink, and it's a huge community initiative and a fundraising initiative for them. So we get that calendar, we, parse out what we're doing and what community outreach we're doing with that, who we're calling to get tickets for those, and then all of the sponsorship stuff that goes along with it. So I have gotten a pretty solid crash course in hockey terminology and what
Well,
these.
you knew goal.
I did, but we have a power play sponsor. We have, sometimes things happen and they're like, oh, we should call it XYZ, and I'm like, you're gonna have to translate this for me and why that's a thing. So we try to get clever with our sponsorship. Our penalty box is sponsored by Crime Alert Brooks County. So when they're sitting in the penalty box, it's surrounded by Crime Alert's advertising. So just like that we try to get clever and creative with throughout the season. And then game day comes, and we did a lot of work this past season in, we have a great experience on the ice, great product on the ice. We have a great experience when you're sitting in the stands watching the game. But the thing that we really focused on this year is we want you entertained from the second you walk through the door. So you walk through our main entrance, we've got a DJ playing right in the concourse. We have balloon animals and face painting, and one night we had karaoke and line dancing, and depending on the theme, even the concourse has activity going on. And we really wanted to focus this year on doing that, so that even if you're not necessarily sitting in the stands watching the game or watching the product that we're doing, within those walls, when you're outside in line for concessions or bathrooms or just stretching your legs, there's something to do and people to interact with. So I think that's a pretty good overview of what we've got going.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of businesses that take advantage of advertising with you. I mean, there's a lot of room and a lot of space, and like you said, you guys are flexible enough to have some creativity in how maybe a particular sponsor wants to work an event or a specific sponsorship. So can you talk a little bit about that and maybe some of the availability?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of what I have been doing over the past several years, but the last couple of months as well, is having the conversations with our partners and potential partners to find out what your goals are. So you may come to me and say, I'm just here for employee retention. I want to bring out my employees, entertain them, give them a good experience so they stay with us and they enjoy, working for our company. So in that sense, we're working with our Icebox, getting them out like you guys did on the Top Shelf Lounge, food, beverage, networking, that kind of stuff to enjoy as a group. Other businesses will come to me and say, I want my business name as big as you can get it on the largest piece of inventory you have. And that's fun because we've got a lot of creative opportunities. Right now, the Icebox that I mentioned is our largest party space right on ice level. It entertains about 75 people, but it's a huge space of advertising, and that space is recently available. So, for example, we could splash that Victory Bank logo all over that wall, and any fan that comes in knows that they're in that space, recognizes the Victory Bank logo. So that's kind of what we work with. And then you've got businesses that the activation they want to do is more to drive business to their location. So we've got opportunities for like Chick-fil-A does. Gosh, I love it. They literally drop cows from the rafters,
Nice.
with, like coupons in them. So that's fun. So we try to find creative activations that way, where the fans that get those cows have a coupon on them, and then it drives traffic to that location. So it's really just figuring out what combination of goals you have, and then figuring out how we do that in a creative way that is more than just slapping your name on a billboard and walking away. We get to really engage with our fans in a different way with your brand. So that's kind of the goal there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, what kind of attendance do you usually get at the games?
Sure. So this past season, we actually just came under new ownership July 1 of 2019. So under new ownership this last year, we had about 75,000 people come through our doors for hockey. That was in the first 31 games. So COVID actually cut us off with 5 games remaining in our season that would have blown that number out of the water with those, attendance tends to increase as the season goes on.
Sure.
We'd already clinched playoffs. We were looking for a good last run there. But with under new ownership and under new management and just a different way of investing in the team, we increased attendance over 20,000 fans in those first 31 games from the year previous. So we really had a lot of momentum going right before the world shut down. But we're looking to continue that momentum, and we're actually going into our 20th anniversary season. So there's no reason not to keep plugging away that way.
Yeah, and I can tell you, it's a great experience going to one of these games. Like I said, a while back, we did the networking night at the chamber. What were we calling it? Were we calling it networking night, or what was it called?
Yeah, it was is it networking at night that you guys do?
Something like that. But anyway, we were a part of that area up top there, so we were overlooking the entire arena, and it was very clear because the ticketing process was smooth. We got ushered up via elevator to the top area there. Yep. Again, you can fill in the names with any of these because I'm not familiar with them.
Currently, it's the Top Shelf Lounge, but that space could be sponsored, so it could be whatever we want it to be.
Yeah. So we get in there. We're greeted by an usher or somebody who works for the arena there, directing us to the food that was available. And then we basically had the whole, when you look at a hockey arena, it's kind of, oblong shaped or whatever. I don't even know what that shape is, but we almost had the entire back part, behind the net there. It extended, and there were high top tables, and it was just a really nice opportunity to network. The arena wasn't, that loud, where the music was blaring, and you were able to carry on a conversation. So it's just kind of like a nice space, and you guys really did a nice job with the hospitality.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The two spaces that we really do that in are the Top Shelf Lounge and then the Icebox, which is down on ice level. The experience is similar in that, food and beverages included. There's a buffet and a bar right there on site. The difference is, like you said, that noise. So up on the Top Shelf Lounge, it's way more conducive for networking, but down low, it's a little more in the action. It's a little more exciting, especially if you've got little ones there. But you can still do the networking, but you're a lot more involved in the game, I think, when you're down on that lower level versus looking at it down from up top.
So for the audience, when Tammy's talking about being ice level for the Icebox, she means ice level.
Yes.
Literally, you could reach out and touch the glass if you are participating in one of this Icebox space. So essentially what they do, I guess, if I'm describing this correctly, looking at it from up top the way I did, you carved out a section of seats essentially and have an area where you can keep food, to entertain clients or have some sort of get together. And then there's a big area where you can literally walk around, and you have high top tables, and again, you can watch the game right up against the glass, right?
Yep, exactly. And it's nice because, especially for the networking or the employee engagement, everything you need is right there. So the difference, in my opinion, the difference between getting a block of seats and sitting in the regular stands is that everyone's getting up left and right to go to the bathroom, get concessions, whatever. If you're looking to do the networking or entertain and really get to know your employees or your clients, those party spaces are the way to do it, because everything is right there. No one really has a reason to leave. Obviously, they're welcome to, but it really gives you the opportunity to engage, for the 2.5 hours, 3 hours that you're there, to really get to know people and mingle about, as opposed to just sit in your seat and watch the game.
Right. So for those who are continuing to watch here, I would encourage you to tune in until the end here, because I believe Tammy has something special that she would like to announce. So please continue to watch. Tammy, this Santander Arena is a big arena. Hockey's not the only thing that happens there, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. Can you give us idea some of the other things that you host at the arena, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So every year about anywhere from 70 to 90 events can come through our doors. That includes hockey, 36 hockey games plus playoffs. So depending on the year, we've got a lot of events that come through, and it can be everything from, we do Disney Live, which we cut down real small, intimate space in the arena, but we have Mickey and Minnie here for a family show. But then we can also do a big concert like Eric Church, which we did was 1,000 people in the building, 360-degree seating, literally packed to capacity, but a great event. So everything in between. We've done Reading Craft Beer Festival a couple years in a row, so that's a little more interactive. We also manage the Santander Performing Arts Center. So that's actually over on North 6th Street. It's about 4 blocks away from the arena. But we do another 70, 80 events over there every year as well. And that we have our full Broadway series presented by Keystone Spine and Pain Management Center. We have a full series over there with Broadway. And then your smaller touring shows that may not fill a full arena, but can do a nice, 1,700 seat performing arts center. So all in between hockey and both buildings keeps us pretty busy throughout the year.
Yeah, and the Performing Arts Center is another great venue there. There's a lot of history there. So just when you walk in, you just feel like you're in something special there, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. And I think it's a space that I obviously with my theater background is dear to me, but it's also a space that, like you mentioned, it's so it has so much history that we really try not to do so much advertising over there to maintain the history and the beauty of that building. There's definitely a different energy between what we do here at the arena with, I've got brand names on literally if there's an empty wall, I will put your logo on it. Whereas over at the Performing Arts Center, we really try to maintain the vibe over there and the energy that, the history that's in that building and just let that building shine on its own.
Yeah. That's great. Well, we have a few minutes left here. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about the Reading Royals, the Santander Arena, any other programming?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that we are focusing on in light of COVID kind of keeping us from major gatherings, the Royals started back in March, I guess April, by the time we could kind of execute. We started our brand new youth hockey program. So it is a 3-pronged program that we brought in Terry Janike, who is a former Royals player. But brought him in. He had a highly successful youth program before, and we brought him under our wing. He came in and said, hockey should be Royals, and whether it's little guys or big guys, we should all be doing this together. So he started that program over the summer with some Learn to Play clinics, and now he's actually in the process of doing our league, our youth league program that will take place over at Body Zone. But those kids are now doing camps and practices. So it's been a nice addition to have, to be able to still do hockey, even if it's just for the little guys and, within COVID restrictions, we're not putting 5,000 people through the building, but we're still engaging in the community in that way. So there's some sponsorship opportunity there as well. In that sense, I know, the exposure is lower than it would be for a game, with 5,000 fans in the stands. But the impact is just as important, if not more important, to make sure that we are keeping our, the young ones in our community active and engaged in what we're doing. And, so that's kind of my goal as this December date is approaching, is just, even though we're not playing, we're supposed to be opening in 10 days of, in a typical season, opening night is 10 days from now. So I wouldn't normally say, Bill, let's talk 10 days before opening. Yeah. But, my goal over the next several months is just really to continue to engage in the community. And whether that is bringing partners on to support what we're doing, or just to learn more about the organizations with the Tri-County Chamber that I've not been able to connect with. I've got time. And I'd love to, open that door for conversation, just to have that information in the background as our season starts to develop. I can keep my eye open for opportunities that make sense for other chamber members that might have an interest in advertising up in Reading.
That's great. We did have a question on Facebook here. Are the Reading Royals a Philadelphia Flyers affiliate?
Yes. So we are affiliated with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms is the next level up from us. And then the Philadelphia Flyers is our NHL affiliate.
That's great. Thank you for answering. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we get to the really, really good stuff.
Yes.
You have something to give away. You've been so kind to do that for the Chamber Chat audience. So please tell us what you have to offer there.
Absolutely. So we are thrilled to give away a suite night for one lucky winner. Our suites are up on the 300 level where we were talking about earlier. The top shelf lounge takes place. It's up looking down. It's a beautiful space, a little bit smaller, a little more intimate. So the certificate would include 14 tickets to that suite area. It's a private space just to entertain, whether it's clients or a birthday party, whatever you want it for. It's for 14 people, and we're going to make it valid for this upcoming season, 21-22. Sorry, 2021, but also 21-22, in case, if you guys are maybe not ready to come out in a crowd yet or in a group yet, we want to make that valid for the following season as well. So all the information on that certificate comes right through me. So you guys would contact me to select the date once we've got a full schedule.
That is beyond generous of you. 14 tickets to a hockey game in a suite. Come on. How could you not, right?
Yes, I always say once you've done a game or a concert in a suite, it's very hard to justify sitting downstairs again, because it's such a different experience. It's such a, it's just a different experience upstairs.
Yeah. So how do folks go about winning this suite?
So we can enter to win by emailing me. I guess, Bill, can we put that in the chat later or at the, okay. Yeah, just email me to enter to win, and then we can select that later today.
Awesome. That's we're getting comments in here. That's like 3 hockey lines. Yeah, well, you know what? Hockey's a lot like life, right? You're either on the power play or you're trying to kill a penalty here or there. So
there you go.
Thank you for so much for being on today. Greatly appreciate it. It was great to see you and to catch up.
Yes, it was good to see you. Hopefully we can do this in person sometime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I much prefer in person, but for now, the virtual thing is what we got. So if I could ask you to hold on for just a few moments. And folks, thanks once again for tuning in to Chamber Chat Live. Last episode, guess what? I'm human. I forgot to give you your networking tip, but I'm back today to give you your networking tip. So typically when you're at events, you get a chance to meet maybe a handful of people, 10 people, a dozen people. Well, you may or may not have a sort of relationship with those folks. It's kind of tough to develop at first. But one thing that I always try to do is anybody that I meet and I have a meaningful conversation with, I always try to follow up with some sort of communication, whether it be a phone call or an email, just saying that it was nice to meet you and would welcome the opportunity to talk a little bit further. It doesn't even necessarily need to be about business per se. But just connecting with, another individual, hopefully that can lead to some synergies and, certainly says a lot about your character and about your brand. If you remember a few episodes, I was talking about, having your own brand, whether it's something you wear or it's a smile or whatever it is. This is what I incorporate into my own personal brand as well, is just the sincere appreciation that I was able to have a conversation with somebody. And I don't know if you remember, Tammy, I sent an email to you thanking you for inviting us to the performing arts.
Absolutely.
So people remember that. So so there's your networking tip from me. And thank you again for tuning into Chamber Chat today. My name is Bill Vitiello. I am the Institutional and Business Development Manager for the Victory Bank. Again, thank you to Drew Griffin from Delicious Marketing, our sponsor, Simply PEO, the Tri-County Area Chamber of Commerce, and the great students at the Montgomery County Community College Communicating Arts and Production Group. So until we connect again, all my best. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in. Please like, turn on notifications, subscribe, or share. Want to be a guest? Email podcast@tricountyareachamber.com.